All right, Jeff, good morning. Welcome to the podcast. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're just talking off air, and obviously it's a busy week between Christmas and New Year's. And so, again, appreciate you doing this. And so let's jump right into it. Let's give the audience some context. How long you been in real estate sales? What market do you sell in?
Yeah, so I am located in Cleveland, Ohio, south suburbs of Cleveland, but based for listener purposes, Cleveland, Ohio. I have been in the business I got my license in March or April of 2017,
Got it.
and I've been running ever since.
I love it. I love it. So 2017, can you kind of walk us through, just give us a kind of a production roadmap since you started in 2017 and where you'll end in 2022?
Yep. So in 2017, with a couple months shaved off in the beginning, I sold 20 houses. Two of those were my own, so I bought and sold my own. And it was right around 2 million. I think it was like 2.1 million in production at that time. This year, as we've grown a team, I will end up about 140 transactions, just shy of 35 million.
I love it. Amazing. And so there's a lot to unpack. You've learned a lot. So people listening or watching this podcast, get ready to take some notes. So Jeff, let's kind of break down the team, the structure of that team. Then we'll get into the business model. So what does the team look like right now that will produce 140 deals in 2022?
Yep, it is. It's myself still in production. There are two. There are three full-time agents, and then there are a handful of part-time agents as well. We've got so I own a brokerage now, but it is 16 licensees in the brokerage. Four of us are full-time going at it. The rest are kind of dual career or getting started, or trying to find their way a little bit. And then we've got two full-time admin staff on staff.
Got it. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love the model, right? I mean, I've told a lot of people this, but I think the maybe the way of the future with brokerage or with building a team is to do exactly, Jeff, what you're doing, which is that whole team ridge model where you have a team, but you own the company, and the people that work at that company are in a team atmosphere, so to speak, where the traditional brokerage model is no one's on a team. There's a bunch of solo agents. And so now you can really support your agents, I would imagine, on a much, much deeper level. So that makes a lot of sense. When did you actually open your own brokerage? When did you leave another brokerage and say, all right, I'm going to go and open my own?
Yep. So I was with KW for a few years, and then decided to go open my own. We've kind of looked around at some other ones. Just didn't love what we saw in the other ones. I guess just wasn't for us at the time. But at the end, we started in the beginning of 2020, and then at the end of 2020 is when we opened. I actually got my I started brokerage classes when the day, I don't know if you're a sports guy, the day the dude touched the microphones in Utah, kind of mocking COVID.
Yeah.
I signed up for classes that night. Rudy Gobert, I think was his name.
Yeah.
But I was convinced we were shutting down, and I just didn't want to do nothing when we shut down. So I was like, all right, I'll just go to class. What else was I going to do? Obviously we didn't shut down. We were, at that point we were kind of redlining. I remember it's the last time it was fun to have a buyer in real estate was 2020. But,
Yeah.
But that's when we got started, and it took a little bit longer as that year went on, but we finally got it in November of 2020 is when I left KW and was selling houses under our new company.
Yeah. So in your experience, let's just talk about that for a second. Has it been worth it from the standpoint of there's two arguments here to opening up your own company. And we're not
Yep.
talking about opening up your own brokerage under the context of what we just said, where you're going to recruit hundreds and hundreds of agents and they're all on their own, and most will fail, but some will make it. We're not talking about that model. We're talking about the team ridge. We're talking about
Yep.
the argument to build a team under a brokerage like a KW or Remax, or build a team under your own company. Your experience, has it uh, been beneficial, or now that you've got 2 years on your belt doing that, do you wish you would have done something differently?
Sure. There's always pros and cons. There's always, I'm sure like you, I'm like, there's always second guessing moments. You're armchair quarterbacking yourself at all times.
Yep.
To me, in that moment, it was, I believe, my responsibility to help the agents that are walking with me to make more money. And if we could unload some of those big corporate fees for them, that was a glaring hole in our spreadsheet as we're kind of running through the exercise. That was kind of the red alarm there. Where I'm like, well, if we could eliminate these, I'm like, there's no this. If we open our own, there's none of this. And could we operate? Could we operate ourselves at less money than what we were giving to that brokerage? And the answer was honestly yes. And as we've gone a few years, I'm at a little over 2 years now. The answer is still yes. I mean, we're definitely operating there. There is, I'll say there's a flip side of the coin where I'm like, look, I'm the broker, so I handle anything legal. Could I care less about something? You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
would you want less to do with a department? Yeah. There's a lot of models around, there's a lot of companies that are out there that are around recruiting. And if your game is recruiting at a high level, then maybe that is a better model for you. But for us right now, focused on selling houses, focused on transactions, focused on growing the people underneath us who might be dual career and might be just part-time getting their start, this very much works for the moment.
Yeah. Well said. I mean, Jeff, I found the exact same thing, right? So I was always with a traditional brokerage before I opened my own company. And on the team model, we were paying just in commission splits alone. At one time, I was just doing the math on my phone as you were talking, but literally probably close to 200,000 in commission splits with my own
Yep.
split, and then having 25 people on the team. You pay a lot of money where, I mean, that gets erased by opening your own company. And to have a small company in terms of having just your team at the company, I mean, you don't have 150, 200,000 in expenses. And so it goes directly to the bottom line, and you could pass a lot of that right to the agent. Because the problem I had with having a team at a brokerage was the double split. Right, they've got to split with the company, and then they've got to split with you. And the team member's like, "Dude, Jeff, I'm getting hit twice." What are your thoughts on that?
The first time I was in a meeting with, and to get top producers who want to come with you, people that are looked up to in the marketplace. For those people to want, so I had a girl want to come with me. She wanted to join the team. And financially, we just could not make this work because we could not get without staying kind of in compliance and I know
Sure.
there's people out there who do some stuff to skirt that. But that was the biggest challenge. I was like, we're going to lose. Her name's not Jenna, but I was like, we're going to lose Jenna.
Yeah.
Because I can't get around this part, and that was like the moment.
Yeah.
And my, I've had a full-time assistant for a couple of years, and he had been pushing me for longer than I had even entered. That was the moment where it hit me over the head with the hammer.
Yeah, no doubt. And so, under your model right now on 35 million, what is the? Will you guys get over 7 figures in GCI? Will you guys just make it over?
We'll come in right at about 900,000 in GCI.
Yeah,
I'm in Cleveland. We got a little bit smaller houses here.
Hey, listen, I'm just north of you. I'm in Detroit, so I totally get it. So will this be the so you're close to a 7-figure business. So that's massive, Jeff, in just a couple of years of being in the business. So this will be the biggest year of your career so far, GCI wise?
Yeah, GCI wise for sure.
Yeah, I love that. So let's break down the business model. So in the team, walk us through like the day to day, because the other argument, and I wish that I just did another podcast with somebody else last week. We were talking about this at great detail, and that is having people come into the business under a lot more structure, under a lot more guidance than what most do, because a lot of
Yeah,
people get into this industry, right? Because it's very attractive to be your own boss and all of that stuff, but it's a fallacy. I mean, it's a huge mirage, is
sure.
what I call it, because the same reason people get in the business is the exact same reason why people fail in the business. So if somebody's on your team, Jeff, that works at your company, we're talking about the full-time person. What does
Yep.
that structure look like? What does the day-to-day? What does an average week look like? Walk us through that.
So the full time person, it is. I would say it's different than the dual career person or
For
the person
sure.
who's
For
just
sure.
the full time person. We it's very, how would I say it? We're very much their coach. We want to help them. Similar to like I'm in the coaching program with you, and it's very similar to that. Honestly, a lot of the resources we use are me because
Absolutely.
they don't always listen to me.
Yeah,
What if I get them to listen to you? Or what if I could just take the words you're saying and spit that out to them? So that's really, that's always in our head. But day to day, they're their own agents. We don't have there's not like a listing specialist or or a buyer lead or anything like that. They are their own agents inside the team Ridge. We've got two full-time admin people. I help with. It's my job to help you with sales. It's my job to
yeah,
help you get deals. I always make the joke: if you need one more deal by the end of the week, you're coming to me. Um, if you need admin help, we've got two great full-time admins. And they do everything. I call them. They hate when I call them admins. It's operations, but I use admin so people kind of understand because that's the terms that we use.
for sure.
Um, but they help. They help with a lot. They get full transaction coordination. They run your signs. They write your listings. You know, anything you need help with, they do. So a lot of times they are very much more involved with the day to day of agents than I would personally be. For me, it's sales training and hey, let's get you up here because we have certain agents in the brokerage who are really strong with social media. All right, let's help them with that. Let's go to let's pay attention to Jimmy Mackin or Jason Pantana and hijack some of their content and how can we repurpose that for you. I have other agents who want to cold call and do for sale by owners. All right, so here we go. Here's the FISBO program. Here's your flip HTML. Here's your postcards. Here's how you got to follow up with that. So honestly, all of them are different. So we
Sure.
try to help them where each of them are. I've got some agents who would never pick up the phone and call anybody they don't know, and I have other agents who would only call leads and never call anybody they do know. So we kind of have to be a chameleon to each of them.
Yeah, I love that, Jeff. And I don't know if you look at it like this or differently. I am curious, but anytime I partner with an agent, and when I mean partner with an agent, I'm talking about to the extent that we're on a team together where we share in the success of one another. And so anytime I'm going to be at that level with somebody, I'm always going to try and talk them out of it because the level of accountability and agreement around what it means to work with one another has to be something that is so rare in the industry. So if Jeff, if an agent was going to work on my team, it's like, listen, I'm going to, before you agree to come into this world, let me do my best on telling you that we're not for most agents because we run it with high levels of accountability, high levels of
Sure.
being confronted on your goals because the people we want to be in business with want to win at the highest level. And so they don't run away from accountability. It's quite the opposite. They embrace that. And so do you guys run it like that where you have business plans and you've got production standards and we're holding people accountable? Or is it more, and there's no right or wrong way, or is it more on the traditional side where it's like you produce what you produce and we're here to support you?
Yep. The latter. We are. It's funny going through your program, going through the Listing Agent Academy program. I'm like the logging of the numbers and that sort of stuff. I'm like, that stuff's painful. I'm like, a
Yeah,
lot of people don't like to do it, don't want to do it, and it's hard. It's definitely hard. For me, I would say one of my biggest struggles as a leader is holding people accountable, and holding them accountable at that level is, I found it to be very difficult for me. It's something I'm working on. I would say I do have good people around me that help with that, but truthfully, we are more of the, we'll meet you where you are and we'll help you
sure.
get to where you go. Your goal's two houses. As long as you're in culture and as long as you're cool, as long as we don't feel like you're doing anything shisty, there's a place for you here. We're happy to have you. Again, we want people who are aligned culturally. Other
Yeah.
than that, we'll work with you and we'll grow with you.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's rare, right, to have it any other way in real estate. That's why the business is so hard. And in my experience, just for the audience listening, from a leadership standpoint, and it's all about a mutual agreement ahead of time of what this is and what this isn't. And so, I wouldn't. When you said maybe one of your challenges, maybe not, maybe it's exactly how you brought people in. And so, if that world was ever going to change, it's just what people want, and so I really like the idea of building a group of Navy SEALs. That's a whole nother topic, and so we'll digest that later. But so back to your
Like, going through it the way I do, there are so many times where I wish I had it the other way.
sure,
Um, and I wish, and too, like, once you kind of start one way, it's very hard to kind of go
super
back.
hard, super hard.
And I think it would be much easier for you to dial down SEAL Team 6 than it is for me to ramp up kind of the good time cruise ship. You know what I mean? Um,
100%. Well, and the other thing that I found, we can have this is a great conversation, by the way. I love getting into more of the leadership development types of conversations. It helps you to elevate as a leader too. If you're leading a team of Navy SEALs, you've got to be showing up in a different way than if, a lot of these brokers do that are leading a traditional brokerage where, it's kind of it's not there's no accountability. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's real estate.
sure.
Everyone's a 1099 independent contractor. It's like, you can't tell me what to do. I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm here if you need me, type of thing. It's just a different dynamic of leadership, and so and there's no right way or wrong way. It's just simply different. And so I just was curious how you guys ran your squad.
And we've lost people this year. We've gained people, but as we've lost a bigger player this year. I view it. It's funny. I view it as the challenge of like I view it as a challenge. Like, I'm just gonna pick up the slack. Like,
I know.
I'll ramp it up and I'll do it all myself. And I feel I feel it's the only way.
Yeah.
Um, and with, I would say with the SEAL Team 6 model, I'm like, it's not the only way. With mine, I'm like, it might be the only way. Other than, we can bring in more people and do things like that. So there is it's a lot of give and take. You can kind of see.
Yeah, and there is. I mean, I want to get into this more. The only, I guess, the last thing I would say on this topic is that it comes down to what people want, right? And so the thing, that's what makes it so rare. I mean, it's very rare to find somebody who truly wants an extraordinary life. I mean, everybody says it. I mean, there's not a lack of people that say they want great things for their life. I mean, everybody says that. But the people that are willing to pay the price, I think it's those people that are rare. And when you find them, they actually want more accountability. They want to be held to a higher standard. Why? Because that's what greatness calls for. And so I think it's part of the talent acquisition process ahead of time, right? So it's like you could have maybe different models, and that's kind of where I've transitioned to, Jeff. It's like I've got agents that don't need anything. They're just at a brokerage because they've been doing this for 20 years, and the state says they have to have their license at a brokerage, and they just want to be left alone. Then you got the
Yep.
new agent, right? And then you got everything in between. But maybe this is one segment of the marketplace where, people want greatness. It's like, hey, how do I make 500K? What do I need to do to net $1 million in personal taxable income as a salesperson? Well, those people are anomalies, and those people, I think, run towards the accountability like a Navy
Yeah.
SEAL would. And everybody else in
Yep.
the industry that makes 40 or 50 grand, fine. That's not the program for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's probably. I mean, you see it. You see it with just your coaching of just
Yeah.
you either log numbers or you don't.
That's
Um,
right. That's right. And so let's talk about your business because inside of our coaching relationship in 2022, I mean, there are many days and weeks and months where you led the way, right? And so I want to talk about production and increasing production and driving sales. So first and foremost, what is your lead generation system or process or methodology that you have found the most success with?
Yep. I am predominant. I've always felt a little fish out of watery in your program because I'm predominantly a sphere-based
Yeah.
realtor. I don't really call for sale by owners. I've never called an expired, and I've done some circle prospecting, but the bulk of the business is by and large. I'm over 85% sphere and referral. So
Yeah.
just someone who meets a lot of people and gets referred to a lot of people.
Well, what's funny about that is, and I don't even know if you know this, but that's how my business is made up, right? And so you're going to, I will spend more time on how to do that. But the reality is, it's how the business should be done. It's just the agents getting into the business, it's tough for them that need
Sure.
money now. So we teach them, hey, why don't we go out there and get some low hanging fruit like a for sale by owner and expired? But the fact of the matter is this, which is what you just said. If a real estate agent is going to have any longevity in this business and not wake up 10 years in the future having to chase Zillow leads and do open houses and call for sale by owners, they're going to have to focus on building a database the same way a CPA does, the same way an attorney does. And so the same way a physician does to build their practice. And
Yep.
so that's actually what I believe in the most. I don't know if I've ever told you that, is to build the center of influence database in a way where you're providing them so much value that the vast majority of your business does come out of that channel of business. So what are you doing, Jeff, to serve that group of people that in
Yep.
return serves you back and generates business?
Yeah, I would say it's very much it's very similar to the approach of for sale by owners or expireds, where you have a list of people that you're going to call every day. For me, I'm like, mine just comes from Follow Up Boss. It's the CRM that we use, and we've got I've personally got about 1,100 people in Follow Up Boss for my own people that I've met or contacted along the way, and that's who I follow up with, and that's who we reach out to. Um, we do we do a couple things throughout the year. We're heavy on we do an end of the year event, and I really want to do more events. That is unbelievable, the amount of almost ease and lead gen ability and every like we do this photos with Santa event, and we can I do it because like I mentioned, I've got little kids, so selfishly, no matter what, if the event totally tanks, at least I've covered checking the box of taking them to Santa Claus. But the event's not going to tank. We've done it like 5 years now, and it allows us to call everybody in our database and invite them to something. It allows us to mail to everybody in our database and invite them to something. I'm never making the phone call of, hey, Brandon, this is Jeff. I'm with Hot Doors. Who do you know who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate today?
Yep,
I don't want to make that phone call, and you don't want to get that phone call.
that's right.
So what can we do to keep talking to you throughout the year while never making that call, but always kind of staying at the forefront of your mind? And that's why I love the event. And we want to do more. We're mapping out our Easter egg event this year, and maybe we do a cookout in the summer or something like that, in addition to the photos with Santa.
Yeah,
The
that's
other
great.
things we're doing, we're just very intentional of staying in contact with people. I think one of the things I struggle with I always make the joke to new agents. I can't teach you how to run into your friends and family at Target. Like I can't teach you that. How do you talk to them? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, you gotta be, you gotta be friends with these people. You gotta be in relationship with these people. You gotta know the difference between, this guy had a baby one day and this guy who plays, this guy loves fantasy football. And you're talking to them, you're just talking to them about the things they want to talk to. And then you're tactical with other things you do. We send out a weekly email. We throw our jabs on social media. We make sure people know what we're doing, and we sprinkle that in out there. But truthfully, it's just about going pretty deep with the relationships. I always make the joke. I'm like, Zillow can conquer the world, but Zillow versus the 1,000 people that I know, game on. Like,
Absolutely.
I bet you can't beat. So
Yeah, and I look at it the same way. And so we too have gone all in on events, and so we look at it with that pillar of business, right? With the database and the people that we know and the people that they know. Events is the path, right? And we're doing one a month now. And so it doesn't need to be at grand scale where we're inviting all 1,000 people. We'll do 4 large events where we'll invite the entire database, but then the
Yep.
12 small ones throughout the year, this is with like 5 to 10 people, right? This might be a I'm doing one on Sunday. And so this is inviting some people over to watch a football game, and I'm going to cook my fillets for these people. And there's no selling of anything. This is close relationships with people that I care about, and they're coming to my house, and I'm going to cook them dinner, and I'm going to continue just to pour into the relationship. And to your point, we'll go deeper and deeper and deeper with these people. And naturally, not a tactical thing, it's not even a planned thing. Naturally, what happens is over time, these people think about real estate, and of course they think of Jeff.
You're the only person they would be.
That's it. And so
How could they think of anybody else? They go, we've got a girl on the team who takes people grocery shopping. It's just like mom's night out. We're all going grocery shopping. We got a guy in the thing who takes people to do, hot sauce tastings. We got a guy who takes people shooting. I'm like, anything. I'm like, whatever your thing is, lean into it. The amount of business I have from hockey, like I play ice hockey.
Yes.
I could trace back 50 to 60% of my business from some point to ice hockey.
Oh, there's no doubt. And the same for me when it comes to coaching my kids in their sports. I can't tell you how many deals I've done, not because I'm sitting there being strategic, like trying to, it's not because of that. It's because I know the parents so well, and they think of me when they think of real estate. And the other funny thing that you said, which has exactly been the case for us too, is on the bigger database, right? You had 1,100 people. We always tell people you should have about a 10% conversion with the database. And lo and behold, you guys did 140 deals out of a database of 1,100 people. It makes a lot of sense. And so, the deeper we go into the database, I teach something called the top 100. That probably could be more like, you could probably, with the top 100 system that we teach, do 25 deals serving 100 people in the database at the level in which we do it, And so, to your point, if an agent focuses on that group of people, they probably wouldn't ever have to cold call. They probably wouldn't ever have to do any Zillow leads. It's just they feel uncomfortable. What do I say? They think they need to be salesy. I don't want to be begging for business. And you and I, Jeff, we're not suggesting that they do. We're saying serve this group of people, and the law of reciprocity will take care of the rest. And that's been your experience, correct?
I tell people when they start, I say, go through 10 people in your phone. I'm like, okay, you don't want to call them because it's scary.
Right.
Text them, hey, how you doing? I'm like, if you did that 10 days in a row, you'd have 100 rolling text messages. I mean, your problem after 10 days would be you're not responding to these people because too many people are responding back to you.
That's right.
And I fully believe it. I'm like, you've got to just talk to people. And then again, throw your swings where they are, call a couple people, step up, level up a little bit.
Yeah. And you can do the jabs, to your point, through different things that are maybe more passive, like the weekly email, like a weekly Facebook Live, things like that, a monthly mailer. You can get more tactical in an ask with those channels that don't seem
Sure.
weird because you continue to serve those people.
Yeah, so I use the analogy to your point. The idea that I'm hitting 1,100 people in the database every month, that's crazy.
Right.
I'm not here and lie. I'm like, my manageable number is 300.
Yep.
Uh, the but I've got my mom's friends on that list. I should always be talking to my mom's friends. They get Christmas cards from me.
Yep.
They get a yearly CMA in the mail from me.
Love it.
They get a Mother's Day card from me. But other than that, I'm like, I'm not calling my mom's friends and BSing with them for 15 minutes all the time. The same way, there's other people that I intentionally focus on being in front of. I make a guy who buys real estate every month from me. I make sure he never goes a week or two without hearing from me.
That's right. Yeah, and that's how we treat our divorce attorneys. And so what you're suggesting is exactly right, that you organize the database in a way where, hey, listen, all 1,100 people are going to get this type of communication. These 500 people are going to get this. These 300 people are going to get this. And this 60 people is going to get this, right? And is that
Yeah.
kind of what you're saying?
Absolutely. We have people that are classified. We use the hot nurture watch system.
Love it.
The hots, like, if you're a hot who closes, it doesn't mean you get off of hot. Like, there's people that buy, several properties a year. They're never falling off the list.
Yep.
A week or two without them hearing from me, and follow up boss is dinging them to the top of my list.
Yeah, love it. So, Jeff, as you look ahead in 2023, and we're talking a lot about at the end of the year, goal setting and things of that nature, what is it that you and your team have talked about doing in 2023? Is there a transaction goal? Is there a goal to bring on more people to the team? What does that look like for you guys?
Yep, we have. So we have a couple of goals. For myself personally, I made the joke earlier about losing the guy. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna pick up that 4 million, no problem. And honestly, for me though, I'm like, I had a pretty off year. I had a lot of personal stuff in the beginning. Like, I had a baby in April. We had, COVID, the rash of COVID of 2021 shut me down for like a month. Went on vacation after that. And I'm like, it was very clear to me. I looked back and I'm like, I lost a quarter and probably a little bit more to just being away. So I would love to, and it's the reason I signed up for, and you didn't ask me to do this, but it's the reason I signed up for coaching. Was I had this sinking moment in June last year where I was like, oh crap, I'm not where I want to be, and I'm heading the wrong way. And it's actually the first time I thought about Zillow leads. I was like, oh god, I can do Zillow leads.
Wow.
And I was like, no, let me call some coaches, because I used to be at KW and I call it the bold spike. You go through their bold program, there's a spike in the business. I'm like, what could I do to get a spike in the business? And that's where I landed with, I interviewed a couple of coaches, and this was the program that screamed to me. So I've had a great, I say all that to say, since jumping in, I've had a great pace. I was in coaching a full 6 months. I think I can build upon that, get to a level of 10 to 12 million of my own personal production. I'd love to help every agent in the company, especially the full-time ones, grow their business, 10, 15%. I think that's very easily doable, especially given the market challenges of last year. And, a lot of the agents in the company tend to be a little bit more buyer-based. So I think buyer transactions are going to be a little bit easier to come by this year for them. So I'm expecting bigger numbers for them. And then I'm always in let's double the dual career agents, because some of them only have 1 or 2 deals. I'm like, let's get them to 3 or 4. Let's get them to a point where maybe they feel more comfortable and want to do this. And we have the model, like you said, of, I have other people who aren't on the team. Like, they just pay a flat fee to hang their license here, and that's that. And honestly, those are some of our most profitable agents. So our recruiting efforts focus on adding those, because honestly, the profitability on them we see is pretty strong.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, Jeff, I appreciate the time you spent with us. I know it's a hectic week for everybody this week, but truly, I appreciate you taking the time and dropping all the knowledge and sharing your experience along your career with everybody else. So thank you so much. Happy New Year, and we appreciate you doing this.
Hey, man. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, Jeff, take care. Bye bye.
Bye.